So here are the prerequisites for this class. This is our fourth class. I'll just open this text document, and these are the prerequisites. So let me just zoom in. So we did have the computer basics class. We looked at navigating your computer, creating files, deleting files. We looked at how to access your applications here. We also looked at how to install and uninstall software in the computer basics class. In the first, second, and third classes, we looked at installing the tools that we need: VS Code, Sublime Text, and the Python interpreter. We also looked at working with CMD, and we did run some code in the last class. Today marks the start of this week's 8 hours challenge. Getting started in tech is not easy, quite frankly. The 8 hours mentioned is just a baseline. You need to add an extra 2 to 4 hours. So by Saturday, we will share in the achievements channel how many hours you've spent this week, what you've learned, what you've built, so that at least we track our progress. Oh, I increased the sound. Let me see. How about now? Is the sound clear? Hash 6242. I'm not sure where you're stuck, but I'll show you how to open VS Code. Gideon Kiprono, how's the sound now? All right. So if you don't have VS Code, let me just confirm if I have mine. So I'll come to the applications here, and I will scroll and look for VS Code. So I think I do not have VS Code, and if you don't have VS Code, this is your chance to see how to install one. So I'm going to go to my browser. I'm using Firefox, and I will open a new tab right here. And here I will click VS Code, okay, like so, and then I will hit enter. So I will click the very first link here, and I'll click download for Windows. So a majority of us are using Windows, which is quite unfortunate for Linux users of Mac OS, but I think the steps are pretty much the same for the other operating systems. So some little bit issue with the video, but it's okay now. So once here, I'm going to click download for Windows. I already have it downloaded, so I'm not going to download, but just click on this icon right here. And then once you do that, you can go to your downloads. You go to this PC, and then inside this PC, you're going to go to downloads, and you look for this thing right here. Okay. So the other thing we also need to install is Python interpreter. So I'm going to go to a new tab and type Python. Then I'll click the very first link, and I'll go to downloads. If I take my mouse here, it will show me this. So you have these two options right here, but I'm going to click on this one. So I do have Python already installed, so I'm not going to install it, but click on this. Once you click on this, you'll have the two installed on your computer. So you'll have this right here, and you will have where's Python? Oh, it seems I don't have Python. Let me see. I did move it around. Let me see where I moved it to. I did move Python somewhere. I can't remember where I moved it to. So let me see. Or probably I already have it installed. So let me just proceed and install VS Code for now. So I'll go back to downloads, and I will double click on this. So I will just say yes and continue. Next, next. I will create a desktop icon. I will add open with code. I will also check on this, and then I will click next. I will click install. So in the meantime, let me also confirm if Python interpreter is installed. So I will come down here and then I will go to, I'm looking for Python. Python is not installed. So let me just download it once again. Oh, it's right here. I don't need to download it again. So Python is right here. I'm going to click on it. I will check these two options. I will install it. So Willing Juguna, I'm not sure why the video looks clear on my end. Can anybody else confirm if the video is not clear? So what we've done, we've gone to python.org and then we've hovered here and we've clicked on this. Hovering means putting your mouse there without clicking anything. That is hovering. So if you take your mouse here, don't click anything, it will show you these options. You're going to click on this. Once you click on this, it will download this on your computer. This thing right here. This is what you click on and then you install. So VLC is done installing. We are going to say finish. And then we go back to Python. Setup was successful. We say finish. Okay. And then we close this. So if you can remember very well from our last class, we said there are two ways to work with the Python interpreter. So number one, you can just come to this icon right here and open Python. And then it will open this CMD like looking window. I'll zoom in. So right here, we can type our code. We can try to play around with code. We can say name equals to Moses. And then we say print. We say print name. And then it will print Moses. So we can do print name quite a few times. And then it will print the same thing. So this is one way to work with the interpreter and type your instruction directly into the interpreter. Are we together so far? So if you're just joining, let me take a detour. If you're just joining, Discord is our main communication channel. Discord is our main communication channel. Under the announcement channel, you will find updates and recordings to previous classes. If you are having a problem navigating Discord, let me just show you how it looks like. So if you are here on Discord, if you are here and you want to go back to the announcement channel, the help channel and whatnot, you can just click on this arrow right here. You can click on this arrow. It will take you back to the channels. And here you can access the channel. So there's the help channel, the 8 hours, the main channel. There's the achievement channel and there's the announcement channel. So you can just browse through this and see what's inside. But that was just a detour. So we said we can work with Python right inside here. But this is not the most common way we work. We write our code. We don't write our code directly inside the interpreter. So how we write our code, assuming we want to build a very simple application. Number one, we start by creating a folder which will contain our software. So here I will create a folder and call it, let's say for example, phony. Okay. So let's say we want to build an application that will track stolen phones. In a way, if you buy a phone, you have to go to a site and register and say, I've bought this phone. Here is the receipt. This is the serial number. So that if somebody else is selling that phone, the seller can go to the website and check if the phone was stolen or if the phone was, sold genuinely. So number one, we've created our folder. We are going to open our folder using VS Code. So if you followed my instruction today for installing VS Code, you can just come to this. You right click on it and then say open with code. Okay. But if you followed the previous tutorial, you can come to the icon down here and look for VS Code. VS Code is right here. So you open it. once you open it, it opens the previous project, whatever it is you were working previously, but you do not want that. So we are going to go to File, and then we say Open Folder, and then we look for our created folder, which is phony, right here under our desktop. So we say phony, and then we say Select Folder. All right. So once you do that, you can just say, yes, I trust this author, and then it shows you this window. Now inside here, we are going to create files that will store our instructions. Since our instructions are written in the Python programming language, our file will end with a .py. So I'm going to say new file, and then I will say phony.py, phony.py. I'll hit enter. And then it asks me, where do you want to save this file? I will just say create file, like so, and then it opens this window for me. Now as you can see, the VS Code already comes with an AI agent that will help you type your code, but for now we are not going to use the AI agent, so we'll just type our code as it says here. Start typing to dismiss. So we'll just start typing. So assuming we want to store the information of the buyer of the phone, so we'll say the buyer equals to, we'll say the buyer was Jared, okay? And then we want to store a list of known serial numbers. Remember, before you start writing your actual code, you have to create a file that explains your problem and then breaks it down into smaller pieces. So here I'm going to say create new file, and then this new file I will say readme.md. okay, I said in the normal world people use .txt or .pdf, but we are software engineers, we have to do our shit a little bit differently. So here I'm going to say readme.md. Now inside I'm saying I will say this is a phone tracking platform. So what do we store? We store, number one, we store the buyer's name. Number two, we store a list of bought phones, okay, and then we store an information of the second buyer. So let's say a second buyer wants to buy the phone, so we store the second buyer's name. Okay, so we store all this information in our code. So now when it comes to writing the actual code, okay, we go back to our instruction file, the .py, and then we say the buyer is Jared. What next do we want to do? We want to store a list of bought phone numbers, or a list of bought phones serial number. Okay, so inside our instruction file, how do we store a list? To store a list in Python, you can just say bought phones, and then you use that. Okay, so since you want to store serial numbers, we can say this is the serial number for the first one. We store another serial number, another serial number, another serial number, another serial number, and this is what we call a list. Okay, so in programming, since we said that programming, the entire business of programming is storing data, manipulating data, and representing data to the user. Okay, so when we store data, we need to understand the formats of data that we store. On your phone right now, you have maybe a PDF document, you have your resume in a Word document, you have your photos, you have your songs, you have your what. All this is data that is stored inside your phone, but they are not stored the same. Not everything inside your phone is a PDF. Not everything is an image. You have images, you have what. The same concept applies to programming. When we talk about writing code, we have to understand the types of data that you're working with. Okay, so far, Abu Umar, I tried making it in dark mode, but there's somebody else complained. I don't know if you guys want me to use dark or white or light mode. Just shoot a chat and I'll see what to do. All right, so this particular data type here is what we call a string. Okay, this is a string data type, and you can think of, oh, you guys want me to go dark. Okay, let me just use dark themes. Color, we want dark mode. Where is dark mode? All right, so is that better? Okay, viral music, I'm sorry, the eyes have it, the darks have it. All right, so we are looking at data types, okay? And we've said since the entire business of computer science is storing data, manipulating data, and presenting data. As a matter of fact, let me just give a comment here saying we store data, we manipulate data, and we present data. Okay? And as I'm doing this, please pay attention to whatever I'm typing. If I'm typing anything that you haven't learned, I will explain what it is. So when you're writing code, your interpreter will interpret every line of code, okay? It will interpret this, it will interpret this, it will interpret this. Now, when you're writing code, sometimes you want to have comments. You want me to zoom in? Let me see. That's the okay, let me just do this. Okay, I think that's the farthest I can zoom in. So when you're writing code, you want to put in comments so that the comments will guide you when you're reading the code later, and the comments will also guide the other person reading your code. So whenever you use a hashtag in Python, that is a comment. That means the Python interpreter will not bother interpreting this line. It will skip it, go to the other line. So those are comments, okay? So at the top here, we want to list the data types that we use. So I've said number one, we have strings. Which other data type do we have? We have lists. I've just mentioned here that we want to store a list of serial numbers already bought by the users, okay? So what else do we want to store? We also want to store the name of the second buyer. So we have the first buyer and we have the second buyer. So the second buyer, we can store the name as Kevin. Okay, so this is a string, this is a string. A string is just anything that has alphabetical characters from A to Z. That is a string in Python. Anything that has numbers is what we call an integer. Okay, so assuming you want to store the age of the phone, how old is that phone? So let me just say here first buyer, and then we want to store the age of the phone. So here we are going to say phone age equals to 3 years. Okay, this is what we call an integer data type. So far, let's just take a break and go back and understand what we've learned. So we've said number one, when you're writing code, I'm sorry, I think this is the loudest this microphone goes. Is anybody else having problems hearing me? Brightness. Let me see how I can do that. Why am I not having the brightness settings? I think you'll have to increase brightness on your end at Tumb. Is there anybody else having problems hearing me? Is the audio okay? All right. So again, let's just go back to, let's just take a step back and go through what we've done so far. So number one, we've said, let me just delete this phony thing. Number one, we've said we want to create a platform where we have a buyer, the first buyer of the phone. So you went and bought a phone. You took the serial number, you added in the platform to mean that you've bought that phone. So we have a list that will store all the phones that have been bought, all the serial numbers. We store them inside a list. Now we also have the name of the second buyer. The second buyer wants to buy that phone, but for them to buy that phone, they want to confirm, is this phone stolen or is this a genuine new phone? So what they will do, they'll take the serial number of that phone and check in the list that we have if at all this phone was already bought by somebody else. Okay, so I've said to the start of any project is to create a folder that will store your instructions or your files. So here we will create a new folder. I will right click and say new folder, and then we are calling our project phony. Okay, now inside phony, if I right click, I can say open with code. But if you don't see this, you can just go to the Windows icon and then you open VS Code. And then once you open VS Code, you can go to file. So if it doesn't open the actual folder, or if you want to confirm that it's the correct folder, you can go to file and then you say open folder, and then you open phony like so. And then now you're inside phony. So we need two files to begin with. Number one, we need the file that will contain our actual code. So I'm going to call it, or let me just call it main.py like so. And then it will ask me where I want to save. I'll just say create file. File number two is whatever will have our problem broken down into tiny solvable problems. So I'm going to say new. I will click this right here, and then I'm going to call it readme.md. Okay, inside readme.md, I'm going to explain what problem we have. So number one, this is a phone tracking system. So for the phone tracking system, what do we need? We need the first buyer's name. We need the second buyer name. Can anybody tell me why I'm adding this here? If you are in our last class, can you tell me why I'm adding this here? Why can't I just use that, but instead I'm using that? And then we have a list of serial numbers. Okay, so this file contains our big problem broken down into smaller problems. So we need to convert this into Python code. Now I will go to the main.py file. I will say, number one, we start with adding comments so that other people can understand our code. So here I will say phone tracking system. And then what do we need? If you check the readme, number one, we need the first buyer's name. So here I'm going to say first buyer. Yes, when naming variables. We learned about variables in the previous class. So I'll say the first buyer's name is, let's say for example, Kuti. And then the second buyer's name is Fela. Who knows who Fela Kuti is? Can you type in the comment if you know who Fela Kuti is? So we have two names. What else is missing? We need a list of already bought serial numbers. So we'll say bought phones, and then we create a list. So this is how we create a list in Python. We say we have a phone with that serial number, comma, that serial number, comma, that serial number, comma, that serial number, comma, and so on and so forth. Now here we've already looked at two data types. Number one, we've looked at a string. Okay, and number two, we've looked at a list. So those are two data types. Now there is one more data type I mentioned. Yeah, Fela Kuti was a Nigerian musician. Yes, legendary musician. I love his songs. So we've looked at strings and we've looked at lists. Okay, I can just use one singular terms. Okay, now there is one other data type called an integer. So this is a string, and this is a string as well. One other data type is called an integer, and an integer is a number. okay, is a positive number. Remember positive numbers from primary, 1, 2, 3 up to 9. So here I'm going to say the phone's age. So I'll say phone age equals to 3 years, for example. Okay, so this becomes of data type integer. Okay, now there is one other data type that we have to look at. Let's assume we want to see if the phone is reported stolen. Okay, if the phone is reported stolen, what do we do? So we can say is reported stolen, and then we assign this to true, which means the phone was reported stolen. Now, which data type is this? This is a data type of Boolean. Okay, this is a data type of Boolean, and we've said this is a data type of list. So these are the most common data types you're going to use. Of course, you'll find so many other data types as you continue, like for example float, which stores you know, a number with a fraction, so to speak. So here, if for example we had what else can I use to represent? So let's say for example we want to represent I'm trying to look for what to present here. So let's say for example country, where the phone was bought, and for some very weird reason the country has a whatever something like, let's say 256.1. okay, this is what we call a float. It's a float data type. So the key takeaway so far is data types: strings, lists, integers, float, and Boolean. Okay, so this is how we represent data in computers. What is the difference between a string and a list? So if you look at our code right here, this is a string because it's surrounded by quotation marks. So that is a string. A string contains alphabetical letters from A to Z. So this is a string, this is a string. A list contains, well, a list of items. So you can have the serial numbers as listed here. And also it's important to note, one data type can contain other data types. Okay, so for example here in our list we've represented only integers. As you can see, this is a number, so it's a data type integer. This is a number, so it's a data type integer, as well as this. But inside this list we can also add strings. So here I can come and say phones. Okay, here I can also come and say country. Okay, so a list can have other data types inside it. Okay, yes, a list can also be thought of as an array. Array is when we are using other languages like JavaScript. So think of a list as an array. Okay, so a list can also have other data types inside. It can have integer. A list can even have a float, 4.3, like that. Okay, and it's a list. So now our system is coming up. Okay, we have the name of the first buyer, the name of the second buyer, the name of the whatever. Now how do we run our code? Okay, so remember when we are using the interpreter, so if I just copy this and paste it inside the interpreter directly, so I'll just come here, I look for the Python interpreter, and then inside I paste everything we've written, I hit enter. Okay, and I want to print the first buyer, so I will say print, I will say first buyer, and then it tells me the first buyer is Kuti. Okay, so but this is not how we normally run our code. We don't use the interpreter in most cases. So we open the terminal inside the VS Code, and to do that you're going to come to the top here, and then you go to terminal, and then you say new terminal. Okay, so how do we run our code? If you remember from our previous class, we said we invoke the interpreter, excuse me, so we say Python, and then we give it the file that has our instructions, and the file in this case is main.py. So we'll say python main.py. We hit enter. Nothing is printed. Anybody knows why nothing is printed on the screen? As you share the answer, let me grab a... All right. Deborah says we haven't used CMD, but let's change to CMD and see if we get the same thing. So I'm going to click on this right here and say instead of PowerShell, I want to use CMD, command prompt. And then I will close this one. I don't need it anymore. Now I will type the same command. So I will say Python main.py, and then I will hit enter. Still I get nothing on the screen. Okay, it's because what we've done is we've stored data, but we've not presented data. Okay, we've not manipulated it yet, but we've also not presented data. So here, how do we present the data? So we are going to use a print statement. So down here I'll say print first buyer. Okay, and then I run our code again, and then it says, oh, the first buyer is Kuti. Now we want to see if the phone is actually reported stolen. So we can also say print is reported. So another important tool when you are using VS Code is this thing right here. It's called auto suggest. So when you're typing code and you can't remember the exact name, you can see VS Code telling you, hey, are you trying to use this? And then I can just click on it and it fills that space. So let's run our code again. And then we can see the first buyer is Fela Kuti, and the phone was actually reported stolen because it's reported stolen returns true. Okay, so that is briefly on data types. Okay, now so far we've only been working with Python, but in the real world you don't only work with Python, you work with other tools. Okay, for a full website, for example, you might find somebody has used PHP, JavaScript, Java, and all sorts of tools. So what if we want to try and learn how JavaScript is used? So let's try to write some JavaScript code. Okay, now we've seen that with Python you can run your code two ways. Number one, you can just call the Python interpreter right here. You can come say Python interpreter and type your instructions and run your instructions. Okay, or you can put all your instructions in one file like we've done here, and then you give that file to the interpreter like so. But what if you want to run JavaScript code? How do we do it? Okay, let's look at how we do it. Number one, we are going to ask JavaScript to print something very simple. Okay, we are just going to ask it to print hello from JavaScript, nothing much. So with JavaScript, I hope you're following because this is a little bit complex. With JavaScript, you can open your browser, and then inside your browser you can click on inspect, and then inside inspect you're going to go to console, and then inside console you get this thing here blinking. So here we are going to copy a piece of code, script alert blah blah blah, and then we paste it here. Am I actually pasting anything? I'm not pasting. Okay, I cannot paste. I am not able to paste. Let me try this one more time. Okay, I cannot paste, so I can just write whatever it is I wanted to write. So I'll say script, and then inside the script I'm going to say alert, and then the alert I'm going to say hello JavaScript. And then I'm going to end this script with this. What is it I'm not doing right? Oh, I forgot a semicolon. Okay, what am I doing wrong? Alert, hello. Script. So let's put a space there. Then you also put a space here. Okay, that's interesting. There's a guy who said he was using JavaScript. Script, that is script, alert. Okay, let's just run JavaScript like normal human beings. So, one way to run, let me just see in the comments, not seeing my screen. Oh, Genobe, you can see it. Okay, fine. So let me try and get rid of the script tags and just type whatever it is I want to type. So I'll just say alert, and then I need to get rid of the script. Oh my goodness. Okay. So we'll delete this hello JavaScript. So okay, I know I that is not the correct screen, by the way. Okay, that is the correct screen. Okay, let's try this one more time. We want to run JavaScript. Okay, there are two ways you can run JavaScript code, at least when you're practicing with JavaScript. Number one, you can just open your browser. I'm using Firefox. So inside Firefox, I'm going to I can open any tab, or I can just go to a new tab, and then I will right click, and then I will say inspect. Okay, now inside inspect, I'm going to go to the console, and inside the console I'm going to write my code. So for example, I will say alert, and then inside the bracket I will type my string. So I'll say hello from JavaScript, and then I will hit enter, and then as I can see, our code is running hello from JavaScript. This is just a fun way to play around with it, but this is not how we run JavaScript code. Okay, so to run JavaScript code, we are going to use the same method we used to run our Python code. So number one, let's convert our Python code into JavaScript, and then we'll go through it. So I will open our code. So I will open VS Code, and then I will copy everything. Okay, and then I will go to the browser. I'm going to ask Gemini to convert the code for me. So I will say Gemini, and then inside Gemini I'm going to say convert this to JavaScript. All right, and I will hit enter. Oh no, the screen is frozen. Okay, so I will hit enter, and it has done its thing. It has converted the code for us into JavaScript. So we are going to copy this code, and then now that you're working with a different project, we are going to say this is phony. This is phony, but it's JavaScript. Okay, and then we hit enter. So we want to open this in VS Code. So again, I will open VS Code, and then I will come to file. I will say open folder, and then I will say phony but JavaScript, and then I will open it. Now remember, say trust this author. Remember, when you're working with Python, we stored. Oh, there was like a jump. Let me see what happened. All right, how about now? Yeah, I think now the screen is clear. All right. So remember, when we are working with Python, we said we create two files, two important files. Number one, we create the file that will have our instructions. But now, since we are using Python, the file that has our instructions was called main.py. But now that we are using JavaScript, what will we call our file? So we'll create a new file and we'll call it main.js. Now, if you're using JavaScript, you call it main.js and we'll hit enter. And then we create the file. And then we paste the code that we had copied before. So we paste it inside here. Okay. Oh, I'm pasting the wrong thing. I'm supposed to copy this and then paste it here. Okay. Oh, it's the same code. Okay. So it's the same code, actually, the same code that we wrote in Python, but now we have it in JavaScript. Now, let's go through the code line by line and see what is the pattern here. So number one, in Python, remember, we were just saying first buyer and then we say kuti. There was no const keyword. You see this const keyword here? It was not present in Python. The same applies to second name. In Python, we do not have this const keyword, okay? We do not even have this let, this what. But essentially, we are doing the same thing. So we are storing the name of the first buyer. We store the name of the second buyer. We store the age of the phone. We store the country. And then we store whether the phone is reported or not. And down here, we store an array. In JavaScript, we call them arrays. So we store an array that will have a list of serial numbers, okay? So we have this serial number here, which is a float. We have this serial number, this and that and that. Now, it's important to note the patterns here. Number one, in both the programming languages, the data type is a string if it has quotation marks around it. The same applies to this one. It's a string. If it's a positive integer from 1 to 9, we call that an integer. If it's a positive number, we call that an integer. If it's a number, if it's a fraction is represented like this, it's called a float. And if it's true, we call it a boolean. So as you can see, the data types remain the same, but the syntax, like here we have the use of const. In Python, we do not have the use of const, okay? So I will open the Python code here so that we can compare properly. So here I will say I want to open phony. And as you can see, these are the two data types. Let me just zoom in. The two files. So here we are using JavaScript and here we are using Python. As you can see, there is some similarity in data types in how we define variables, but there is also some differences in how we define the same variables, like for example, the const keyword, okay? Now, how do we take this and give it to the JavaScript interpreter? Now, to do that, let's just first use a naive approach. Oh, Kevin, I'm sorry about that. Is anybody else experiencing that? Let me see if I can use a different screen sharing. Let me change the software I'm using to screen share and see if that fixes the problem. So let's close that. Where is it? So here, let me type 549.111. All right. Oh my goodness. Why? It is 19, 509, 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 111. 1 hit enter. Oh no, yeah, I didn't set up any desk properly on my. Oh, there's a jump. Okay. Okay, let's try now and see how it goes. It keeps lagging. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I was not aware. Um, yeah. So we've said we want to use a naive approach to run our JavaScript code. So we want to take the JavaScript file and give it to the interpreter. Okay. So number one, we'll go to file. Sorry, not file. We'll go to terminal, and then you say new terminal. And then under new terminal, since when we were using Python, we were saying Python main.py, okay? But since we're using JavaScript, we can try and say javascript.py. So we'll say JavaScript, and then we give it main.py. Let's see how that goes. Plenty of errors. I think the terminal is even confused. That is because let me just do a quick check-in. Is there still a lag? Okay, so we cannot run our code. We cannot run our code using JavaScript main.js the same way we did run our Python file. It's because JavaScript has its own interpreter. It's not, by the way, it's not called an interpreter, it's called a runtime. But for now, just know it's an interpreter for, so that you follow along. So JavaScript has its own interpreter, which is called node.js. Okay. So if I even try JavaScript main.js as suggested, I'm still getting errors. It's because what is happening, I've typed my instructions in JavaScript. I'm taking those instructions, I'm giving to the interpreter, which is not there. So we've not installed the JavaScript interpreter. So what that means is, before you run any code on your machine, you must have the interpreter for the language you're using. So for Python, we had already installed the Python interpreter, and that is why we were able to run the Python code. But for JavaScript, we have not yet installed the JavaScript interpreter, and I've said it's not called interpreter, it's called runtime. But let's just go with the interpreter. So how do we do that? The JavaScript interpreter is called node.js. Okay, so I'll just type node.js in the browser. I hit enter, and then I will click on the very first link here, and then I will click get node.js. So after you've clicked this, it will install something called node.js that looks like this. Let's look for it. Where is it? That looks like this. So once you click get node.js, it will install this. Okay, now this is what you're going to run. So I'll just double click on it and then say continue, then say next. I will click here, say next, install. Yes. All right, so now that we have, okay, we can just press any key to exit. Yes, I think it's still setting everything up. What do you mean Python is not installed? My goodness. Okay. So that is node.js. It's setting everything up for us. That is the JavaScript interpreter. Keep that in mind. Yes, Collins, it's node main.js, but we had not installed node yet. So it's still configuring. So we can confirm if it's installed. Now we can go back to our project. We will clear the screen. And now what you're going to do is, instead of saying JavaScript main.py, we are going to say node main.js. I think node is not yet installed, so I'll just give it a second to complete the installation. Are you guys still having a lag? Sam, I think it's my internet connection. My internet must be weak. If you guys donated to support the course, I would probably buy a stronger internet package. But I'm using, I think, about 20 Mbps. So it gets a little bit sluggish. But just bear with me for that. Oh, yours has just begun lagging. Okay. Okay. Let me see what you can do. Let's see if it's not yet completed. So let's just give it a second. Actually, Node takes some time to install. It does take quite a while to set everything up, and that is what is happening right now. I think that's also why we are having a lag in the recording. Yes, guys, if you guys want me to have a stronger internet, probably by 30 Mbps, you can consider making a donation so that I can keep the course going. No, it's not raining. Let me see. No, it's not raining. It's not raining. It's just the internet. Yes. So please consider donating, guys. The number is on the charts. That's M-Pesa for Kenyans. For Ugandans, you can use mobile money. The number is in the Discord server. Yeah, I think it's stuck because of internet connection. So I think what you can do, we can end this session for today here. I will hop on to office hours on Discord right after this. Let me see if office hours is live. Yeah, I will hop on to office hours, the voice channel, so that we can have some questions, have a chat about the course so far and see how best to proceed. I think this will just take a while, and we'll get back to it when it's done. in the next class, when is the next class? Let me just check here. Announcement. So the next class is on Wednesday 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. We can get back to that and build an actual website. We've not been able to do that today because of internet issues. So we'll end it for today here. Yeah, Sam, install Node. Go ahead and install Node. Tin 3, you are very on track. Kevin, yeah, the video will stay here on YouTube for later. I don't know if there will be a lag in the recording, but it will stay here. So, hey, let's all go to the voice channel on Discord and have a chat there. Bring all your questions, clarifications, and whatnot. Gate info snap. Let's go to the office hours and have a chat why we need Java and why we can't just use Python. That's it, guys. Thank you.